Hola! Welcome to Pichilemu, surf capital of mainland Chile. Look how amazing it is here.
I've been in Chile for about a month now, so it's still new and challenging, but the novelty is beginning to wear off. I don't stop in my tracks to soak in the view of the Andes every time I close the garden gate anymore, and I no longer get the thrill of being a linguistic genius just because I managed to say hello. That's not to say that living here is natural or easy yet, but the frustration of living in a country I'm not familiar with in a language I don't speak has well and truly hit home. While I'm trying to persuade myself to embrace life admin and language lessons, I need something more exciting to keep me going. Surfing is very much outside my comfort zone. I did a week of surf school in England where I learned enough to have some idea of how much I don't know and can't do. Over the years of being a bewildered foreigner in as many countries as possible, an incompetent beginner in as many sports as possible, and a bit of an outsider in plenty of unfamiliar social situations, I've noticed that I feel best when I get the balance right between pushing myself out of my comfort zone and doing things which feel safe. But in the moment, I can never tell when to push and when to relax. When I let myself just do whatever I feel like, I'm lazy, uncreative, and kind of boring. Now, obviously I understand that just because something is in my comfort zone doesn't mean it's bad for me to do. Swimming lengths is absolutely in my comfort zone, and I could probably do with a bit more of that in my life right now. And walking alone at night in dangerous neighbourhoods is totally outside of my comfort zone and something I will continue to avoid. But there's just something about going to new places, meeting new people, and doing things I'm bad at, which makes me feel alive. On my first day here, the major challenges were basic and kind of boring. The central bus station in Santiago is an assault on the senses and pretty intense. The bus ride involves quite a lot of speaking to strangers and listening to announcements, and when I arrived, I was immediately lost, I couldn't use Google Maps, and I hadn't booked a room anywhere, so I had to find somewhere with a space for me for that night. By the time I got to surf school, I was already frazzled and grateful to pass Kayleigh for playing it safe and signing up for a bilingual beginner's lesson. We started in the car park and the coach told us all the normal beginner information. I showed what I'd learned before and then we set off for the water. The coach was great, the water was lovely, and the lesson was predictable. So far, so good.
There's like a really big break where all the like very competent surfers surf, and then there's like a little mushy corner where all of the beginners go. I was obviously in the mushy corner.
But by the end of the session, I was feeling like I'd wasted the opportunity. Time is limited, life is finite, and I was frustrated with myself for wasting it by playing it safe in the little waves. So when the coach offered me the option of having a one-to-one lesson the next day on the giant wave, I decided to go for it.
It was lovely. I saw starfish everywhere. Like small children were picking them up and playing with them, which I imagine is not actually that good for the starfish. I just got out from surfing. I am still insanely full of adrenaline. I just want to show you what I did because it was amazing. You see this big wave here that goes all the way along? I got on that one. So we got in where those two people are, and then we went through the seaweed and out, and there's actually two surfers out there. It looks really small from here, but it's actually like absolutely enormous. So it was super, super scary. And so the first time I got out in it, I just fell off because I kind of panicked. The second time I got out in it, I really didn't set up fast enough, and so I got flipped over again. So I had to just practice a little bit in the flatter water and then just go for it. And I got on the wave and I surfed it like really, really fast.
Future Kayleigh here. If anyone watching this has any ideas about how I can get some GoPro footage of myself surfing, please write in the comments. I'm almost certain I'd drown, or at least lose my GoPro if I tried to use a bike mount, and I don't own the board, so I don't think I can just stick a regular mount to it. Are there any other options?
The contrast between the place I surfed today and the place I surfed yesterday is absolutely insane. So the place I surfed yesterday is like there. I don't know if you can see them, but there's like a bunch of students out there, and it's like a really little wave, and they just kind of go there and back and there and back. And I did that in a group yesterday. The coach said if I wanted to go to a private lesson, we could go somewhere a bit bigger. So that was exactly what we did. At least it's really easy to see where I missed.
I had a few days without surfing, so this is day 3 of surfing, but it's not actually the day after day 2 in real life. By now the weather had changed, the wave was bigger, and I jumped straight in and tried to do the same thing again. I got battered around, I fell off, I didn't even manage to stand up on the board. I was frustrated that I tried to do too much and I failed. If only I'd stayed on the little waves and practiced turns or something, then at least I would have improved a skill instead of achieving nothing apart from testing my ability to push through my fear and not spew after swallowing too much ocean. It seems like no matter what I do, I'm left feeling like I've made a mistake. When I'm in my normal frame of mind, it's really unusual for me to regret decisions. And I don't usually agonise over past Kayleigh's actions or inactions. But I think this is a symptom of the fact that I have pushed and pulled myself out of my comfort zone in every possible direction since I got to Chile. I've not recognised a single face in nearly every room I've walked into in the last month. I can't understand subtle social cues, I don't recognise tones of voice, and I routinely make a fool of myself by saying hello when I actually mean goodbye, or just staring blankly past people when they speak to me because my brain is so totally saturated that I just switch off. I'm still struggling with the simplest daily tasks, like going to the supermarket. See this video here to see me get confused by shampoo and fruit. And this means I'm so much more emotionally invested in having the perfect experience surfing, just because my ego really wants a little boost after I failed at using my bank card and I forgot how to open the front gate. Sadly, the ocean is a fickle friend and not to be relied upon for an ego boost, no matter how much you think you might deserve it. Lesson learned.
Good morning. This is where the party was last night. It was really fun.
I woke up late, checked out of the hostel, possibly a little bit hungover, and rocked up at the surf school, still undecided about whether I'd be joining a group lesson on the big wave or splashing about in the beginner's corner by myself. I weighed up the pros and cons of both options with a totally unreasonable level of emotional investment in the decision, before I realised that I was actually just starting my period and homesick because I was 6,000 kilometres away from everyone I love on my birthday, and that this decision did not matter at all in the grand scheme of things. So I went to the little corner and had a great time practicing turns and not crashing into other people, and that was that.
Today I didn't go on the big wave, I just stayed on the little wave, retreated to my comfort zone and had a fun time.
I feel like this is the stage in the video where I'm supposed to have a profound conclusion about when you should push yourself out of your comfort zone and when you should retreat back into it and give yourself a break. But I don't, and I'm not sure there even is an answer. Maybe it all depends on the narrative you tell yourself when you get home. In which case, I think less making up narratives and maybe slightly more focus on my Spanish homework might be the answer.